So, if you're fresh out of uni or you've been thinking about making a career move, you might well be considering the world of finance. Now that's unsurprising, given the opportunities in the space, the highly competitive pay, and the intellectually stimulating nature of the work. However, it's in high demand and it's very difficult to get into, especially if you don't have an effective strategy. Worry not, I'm here today to help with that. So I've been working in an investment banking role for over 2 years now, and I'm here today to share a blueprint with you that will help you break into the world of finance. Let's get into it. The video will be split into 5 parts. So in the first part, we'll go through education and experience. In the second part, we'll go through networking. In the third part, we'll go through technical knowledge. In the fourth part, we'll go through the application process. And in the final part, we'll go through the interviews and the assessment day. So let's dive into it. So let's cover education and experience. From the top, I'm only going to cover the route that requires having a degree. I'm not going to cover the apprenticeship route, which is an option straight out of school. So what degree should you do? Well, the answer to that is it really doesn't matter. There's this common perception that you need to study a finance or economics degree to get into banking. That's not true. I studied chemistry and I work with lots of people who study humanities, psychology, or other non-finance and economics related courses. What really matters is where you studied, what grade you got, and most importantly, how you sell yourself. So fundamentally, employers want to see that you can work hard, you can be taught, and that you have transferable skills. The rest you will learn on the job. So the first point of call is to really spend some time thinking what your degree taught you. So for example, if you studied a STEM degree like I did, you would have learned skills like problem solving, critical thinking, report writing, analytical skills, and so on. If you did humanities, you'll likely have excellent verbal and written communication. Engineering would have taught you similar critical thinking and problem solving skills, and a similar list exists for whatever degree you did. So you really need to spend some time, nail this down, and make sure you can put together a compelling case. Depending on the role you're applying for, there may be an expectation that you studied at a Russell Group university, so typically the top tier universities, but that does not hold true for all companies. So it's worth checking the job description. If you did attend a Russell Group university, you should leverage the alumni network. There's a good chance that people who went to your university are working at this sort of institutions that you'd like to work in. You should reach out to them and start building a network, and I'll cover that in point 2. Also, consider what experience you already have, as this will form part of your application. If you've done an internship, that's great. That may offer you a direct route into the company that you interned with, or you'll have relevant experience that you can point towards in the application process. But if you haven't, that's not the end of the world. I didn't do an internship, and many that I know didn't either, but it's all about how you sell the experience that you do have. So think about what sort of roles you've done. Have you done a sales role? Because if you have, there's a number of useful skills that you will have learned and that you can point towards in your interview and in the application process on the whole. Have you held any leadership or project management roles? Because both of those are also useful skills that you can point towards. Ultimately, it is a sales pitch. You need to think long and hard about what your education and your experience has taught you and put together a compelling argument for why the company should take a punt on you. As I said off the top, the employer is looking for people who can work hard, who can be taught, and who are ambitious and motivated. The rest you'll learn on the job. So let's move on to the second part, which is networking. So networking is a critical part of landing a role in finance. It's always daunting to begin with, and don't worry, everybody feels the same, but you get better at it with time and with practice. As I alluded to in point 1, if you went to a decent uni with a good alumni network and people that you know are working at institutions that you might want to work at, you should definitely leverage that. Reach out to them via LinkedIn, or if you have their email, even better. And because there's a common ground there, you're more likely to get a response. Fundamental human psychology dictates that we have more time for people and like people who are similar to us. Otherwise, you should make the most of LinkedIn on the whole by sending out cold messages, and it's worth looking at YouTube videos and other guides online to help you with that. And otherwise, career fairs, local events, these sort of things are also a great way to meet new people and to build connections, and career fairs in general will also have the institutions that you're considering working at attending there, pitching their company to you. Ultimately, you have to be proactive. Your network will not build itself. You need to make time for that in your diary and stay consistent over time. Don't worry about rejections or being ignored. This is totally part of the process. Imagine you're on the other side of the table and you have loads of inbounds from people that you don't know. You're going to have a quick flick through their intro and then you'll form a view. That's why it's important to target people that will most likely reply and to spend time honing your LinkedIn profile. That means keeping it clean, consistent, professional, and also pointing towards any relevant experience that may help you land the job. First impressions matter. Don't be robotic in your initial intro message. Keep it human and keep it relaxed. Write how you speak in a friendly tone, point towards some common ground if you can, and research them and their company. If you can offer some value up front, that's great, but if not, showing keenness and showing genuine enthusiasm will take you a long way. You should also spend plenty of time preparing so that you don't waste the other person's time. That means coming equipped with insightful and well thought out questions that make the best use of both yours and their time. The fundamental point here is don't waste their time. You're trying to build a lifelong connection here, and if your first impression is a negative one, that's probably going to end right there. Remember, networking is very important. Don't worry about rejection. It's very much a numbers game, so keep playing it, and it just takes one solid connection to change your life. So let's move on to the third tip, and that is technical knowledge. Now, you don't need to be able to do the job on day one, but you do need some fundamental understanding of finance. And I'd break this down into two parts. One, which is the technicals related to finance itself, and the other part is market knowledge. So to cover off the first part, which is the technicals, I would recommend you watch YouTube videos, you use ChatGPT, which is a very powerful tool, or you use Google in general to understand the basics of financial statements and how they connect together, what various banks do, and what products they offer, and essentially forming a broad view of what the financial space consists of. As I said, you don't need to know it inside out, but a high level understanding is very important and goes a long way in helping set a positive impression. Then let's consider market knowledge. Now this one's very important and much easier to get up the curve on. All it requires is genuine interest and consistency. So if you can afford it, I'd highly recommend getting a subscription to something like the Financial Times, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, whichever one you would like. And this gives you excellent real-time insights into what's happening around the world. Otherwise, there's plenty of free resources as well. So BBC, Sky, Reuters, etc. Just have a Google. We'll all do similar updates, although with slightly less of a business focus. However, you can get sufficient information from there to have a view on what's happening around you. I'd particularly focus on the state of the economy, key political changes and events such as elections that are coming up, trade wars and real wars and the economic impact that they can have, and more specifically, some of the challenges that banks are facing and any major deals that have happened. You don't need to know everything, you just need to show a genuine curiosity and interest. Reading these articles 2 to 3 times a week over a consistent period will sort of ingrain it into your brain, and you'll be able to speak about this naturally. And doing this in the interview will go a long way in proving that you genuinely want to work in finance. So let's move on to part 4, which is the application process. So there's a number of key components here, and I'm going to step through them one by one. So let's start with your CV. I'm going to go through the key highlights here, not how to construct your CV. There's plenty of resources online, and you should definitely make the most of them, but here's the key ones. Keep your CV to one page and keep it brief. Hirers are looking at loads and loads of CVs, and they will form a view on the candidate very quickly. That means the way you present your CV and what you include in it really matters. Keep the presentation clean and concise. Use bullet points, not paragraphs. Keep the font legible and a clear one, such as Arial or something similar. Use dynamic action words and use numbers to bring your story to life. For example, add things like sales numbers, KPIs, and targets. And read the job description of the role that you're applying to and make sure that the key parts of that description are covered off in your CV, i.e. you're showing them that you have the skills and experience required to excel in that role. A quick note on cover letters, if it's required, follow a similar approach. Make sure it's clean and concise and legible, and most importantly, effectively express why you want to work for the company. This is always a difficult one, and you should spend time reflecting and forming a solid answer here. Try and keep it original. Do your research on the company, any successful press that it recently has, any big deals that it's concluded, or generally ESG or charity type work that you think is impressive. Point towards these, form a nice coherent answer and include it in your cover letter. Then let's talk about psychometric tests. Now this is the bane of many people's lives. If you're not sure what these are, go and Google them because I'm not going to dive into it now, but fundamentally these are a number of tests that form part of the application process. These can be tough if you have no experience of doing them, and they can put you out of the application process before it even starts, which is extremely frustrating. The most annoying thing is knowing that you were a good fit for that job and you didn't make it through because you failed that test, when you could have passed it just through practice. So my advice is get the practice packs in very early in the application process and get cracking. Do as many as you can non-stop until you're absolutely smashing them out, because often it's just a matter of practice. The packs are relatively inexpensive, maybe between 50 and 150 pounds, and it's a necessary expense. When it comes to these, resilience is key. The first few that you'll do, you'll more than likely fail them, but over time you'll get much better, and that will mean that you can progress to the next stage of the application. And that stage often is the video interview, which can be live with somebody at the company or pre-recorded. So if you're not experienced it yet, it's essentially you pre-recording a response to a series of questions with a timer ticking away in the corner that can be slightly unnerving. So I'd recommend you spend some time with your smartphone and just get used to speaking into a camera, because half the challenge is keeping your nerve in the moment. So those are some of the key things that you're going to face in the application process, and I'd highly recommend you follow these tips to put your best foot forward. Okay, let's move on to the final part of this video, which is the interview and the assessment day. So here there is no substitute for preparation. Now that holds throughout the entire application process. However, here it matters matters the most. You need to practice your answers until you're completely fluent. Now, that does not mean scripting them. That means being comfortable with what you want to say. So don't script it. I'd recommend you put together some bullets which cover the key things that you want to cover off. And you should use the STAR method. Now, again, I'm not going to dive into this method. There's plenty of resources online, but it stands for situation, task, action, and result. It helps you add structure to your response. It stops you from rambling and keeps your answer concise and to the point, which is one of the things that the interviewers are looking for. If they have to unpick what it is you meant, then there's a good chance you're already off on the wrong foot. Always research the company that you're applying for. I can't emphasize how important this is. Make sure you know what the company does, where it's situated, any key developments, any recent press and news, any awards they've won, and ESG and charity work that they've done. And that can help form part of your answer for why you want to work there. So related to this is understand why you're applying there. Now, it's not always obvious to begin with, but over time, if you reflect enough and you've seen enough potential companies, you'll understand why certain ones attract you more than others. Make sure that that is clear in your mind, and make sure you put a solid answer together, because you're going to be asked why you want to work there, and you really don't want to fumble that one. In terms of your body language and your approach to the actual interview, make sure you go in there stood up straight, shoulders back, chest out, exuding confidence and being relaxed, but don't be cocky. And this is a critical one. So many people go in there feeling that they are God's gift and they've got so much to prove and show that they actually turn the interviewer against them by being cocky in the interview. You want to go in there with a humble approach. Be confident in your preparation, but try and set the best possible impression. Be friendly and be honest. If you don't know something, it's totally fine to say that you don't know, and instead the best way to approach this is to start thinking out loud as to how you would approach it instead. So if you don't know the answer, don't lie or make things up. Instead, speak about what you would do and essentially form an educated view. They will appreciate you showing your thought process, and that will again land your points even if you don't know the answer in the first place. Make sure you dress well and set a good impression. I keep emphasizing this, but you only have one chance to show them that you're the person they should hire. So dress well, neat, tidy, everything pressed, and don't put too much aftershave or perfume on. You don't want their entire focus to be on how you smell as opposed to what you're saying. A quick note on some of the other assessments you'll face. Some of them are designed to be impossible. So it's all about how you react in the situation. If you're struggling, take a moment, breathe, calm down and relax, and think about what they might be testing. Sometimes they just simply want to test your response. The final thing to cover here is the team task. This is always a tough one because you're working in a group of 4 to 10 people with other people who are similarly competitive and trying to set a good impression, so it can be a difficult thing to manage. My advice here is that you need to balance assertiveness and collaboration, and this is the key thing in a team task. You need to both voice your opinion and encourage other people to speak. So if you've said your point and you've noticed others who have not yet had a say, encourage them to participate as well, and that will go a long way. You also don't want to shout or speak over people, so make sure you wait your turn, but don't wait too long because you need to say what you've got to say. Offer to time keep if you can, because this shows good project management and sort of leadership skills. And generally make sure that people don't dwell on things for too long. If you can move the process forward so that you can reach the conclusion, that will again go in your favor. Okay, so there you have it, my comprehensive blueprint for how to break into the world of finance. It's a tough thing, however, if you spend time preparing, you know the approach to follow, and you stay persistent, you can make it. And once you get in, your life will change forever. If you like this video, hit the like button and hit subscribe for more content like this moving forward. Thank you, and see you in the next video.